have learned so much about agriculture, the different types of farming, subsistence, commercial, and we have also learned how important the agriculture industry is in our lives. Now there's another aspect to it that we need to understand and know about. So during the 1960s, 1950s and 1940s, India faced major wars, acute famines and pandemics. That was during the mid-20th century, which led to starvation. Now, what exactly do we mean by famines? Well, there was lack of basic needs, there was lack of basic requirements like food, shelter, etc. And it ultimately led to starvation and caused a lot of death. Now, how did this all happen? Well, so India faced a number of threats of famines. Now, even after the Indian independence of 1947, India still was threatened by the major famines, where the famine of 1967 in Bihar is a major example, where there was shortage of basic needs and people suffered from starvation. After all this, after seeing such bad condition, the government of India decided to import food grains, basic food grains from the United States, right? So this was done to replace the damaged crops. So India's major exports till the early 1960s consisted of food grains, cotton, jute, etc. But after this, the trend changed. The trend completely changed. Now, let's take a look at these graphs. Now, taking a look at these graphs, what do we understand? Well, the first graph here shows that this line here is the increase in the grain production. Therefore, the production of crops tremendously increased while the imports had declined. And this graph shows that since rice and wheat were major food crops in India, their production completely rose. Now, what exactly happened that it led to such a change, right? So, this all happened because of the Green Revolution. So, a very important quote that we need to remember is that India changed from a grain-deficient nation to a self-sufficient nation. Self-sufficient in securing food for all the people. So the Green Revolution in India started in the late 1960s, and its success led to attainment of food self-sufficiency within a decade. Now, in India, it started at this period, but it first started in Mexico by Norman Borlaug. As you can see here, Norman Borlaug with the Mexican farmers. While in India, Green Revolution was mainly led by M.S. Swaminathan, who is also known as the father of Green Revolution in India. Now, the movement of Green Revolution is a revolution. Why? So the word green, as we can understand, is because we're talking of agriculture, the food production, the types of farming, okay? But why is it a revolution? So it's a revolution because it spread new technology and development. Also, it effectively replaced subsistence agriculture by commercial agriculture. So now, with the introduction of new technology in the agricultural field, there was an increase in the production by the Green Revolution. Okay, so it is credited for the production increase in the agricultural industry. Now, this helped in reducing the widespread famine and feed billions of people. So, what exactly were the new technologies? The new technologies that were used during the Green Revolution included fertilizers, pesticides, irrigation methods, and modern machines like tractors, etc., and other modern equipments. This was all done. Why? This was all done to help the high-yielding variety seeds thrive, right? Now, what exactly are high-yielding variety seeds? So what exactly were high-yielding seeds? Now, these high-yielding variety seeds basically helped in doubling the production, right? So can you help me answer this question? What kind of seeds were used during the Green Revolution? Traditional seeds, high-yielding variety seeds, flax seeds, or sunflower seeds? Yes, the answer is high-yielding variety seeds. Well, so increased use of irrigation, as I've already mentioned, irrigation was also introduced during the Green Revolution. Now, first is some places that did not have access to water, that were not near a water body like river, lake, pond, or maybe that area received less of rainfall. So the production as a whole was very less, of course. Growing of crops would be difficult. But with the introduction of this irrigation system, what happened that water could be made available to far off fields or places, and areas that did not receive enough rainfall or did not have access to water completely could now grow crops. Therefore, this led to overall increase of the production of crops in the nation or worldwide. So when we take a look at the map of India, we see that states like Punjab, Haryana, and the western part of Uttar Pradesh are places where Green Revolution was initially introduced. So now we can list down the positive impacts of Green Revolution. Now, since with the use of new technologies and the high-yielding variety seeds, what happened was the production of crops per acre yield increased, right? So with regard to India, wheat production expanded from 850 kg per hectare to 2281 kg per hectare in the very first stage. So you can imagine the increase in the food production. Now, since the per acre yield increased, what happened was the total production also increased. So again, with regard to India, the production of wheat grain as per data increased to 55 million tons, right? So with all this increase in the production, what happened was India was now self-sufficient in food stocks and also surplus production. So you can see that from a grain deficient country, it became a self-sufficient country. The tables turned. It had enough grain to export to other countries. Okay? Now, what do you see here? You see a farmer lost in thoughts, right? So let's list them down. Soil has lost its physical, chemical, and biological character. Well, where are my traditional seeds? Where is the groundwater? My well is dried up. My seeds are not germinating. Soil has become saline. Cost of input has increased. So initially, where a land needed 3 kg urea, now requires 300 kg urea per hectare. So why did all this happen? So in a long run, the scientists and the farmers realized that initially, Green Revolution that gave us so much of production and had so much of positive impacts. So in a long run, it is leading to a decline in the production. There are various problems related to this particular method of agriculture. So what exactly were the negative impacts of Green Revolution? Well, the very first negative impact was the loss of soil fertility and the erosion of soil. Now, due to the repetitive use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides, the soil tend to lose its fertility, leading to erosion of soil, right? The next point is soil toxicity. Now, due to the repetitive use of chemical fertilizers on the agricultural fields that was seeping down into the soil was losing its quality and its nutrients. Therefore, it was leading to soil toxicity. It was not healthy anymore. Diminishing water resources is the third negative impact of Green Revolution. So the excessive use of irrigation water, what happened was there were lack of water resources. Now, how is that? So we were dragging out all the water from the ground, right? But there was no refilling of the water. So ultimately, it led to diminishing of the water resources. There was lack of water in many places due to the new irrigation system and the excess use of water on the fields. So with the dragging out of so much of water, and there's no refilling of the natural aquifers that lie below the ground. So it obviously led to lack of water resources, right? Now, salinity and pollution of underground water. Now, as I've already mentioned, due to the repetitive use of chemicals, it is contaminating the groundwater as well as the soil, therefore making it very unhealthy for distribution or for use. Now, increased incidence of human and livestock diseases. Now, since the water and the ground is being contaminated by those chemicals, obviously their consumption by the animals, by the livestock, by the cattle, or by the human beings will obviously not be very healthy. We will fall sick. So, the use of extra chemicals has increased the incidence of diseases in both human beings and the livestock. Another major negative impact was poor farmers who did not have enough money to buy those HYV seeds, high yielding variety seeds, and the new technologies and equipments. Their quality of production was comparatively lower than those who were able to use or buy such HYV seeds, right? And the last very important point is global warming. Now, the use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides on the agricultural fields led to emission of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, and this ultimately led to global warming. So now there are a few suggestions to overcome the negative impacts of green revolution, especially in India. And what are these? Firstly, there was introduction of new irrigation schemes to be started in the arid and semi-arid regions that enable farmers to reap the benefits of agriculture. Now, areas that did not have access to water or they were very dry, there the introduction of new irrigation scheme helped the farmers to grow crops, right? So, which new scheme are we talking about? Well, this is the drip irrigation system, which was to be used in the form of sprinkler system, and this would lead to saving of water, electricity, and manpower, right? So, few other suggestions included providing adequate credit facilities to the marginal and small farmers. Now, what were these credit facilities? These were IIM, NMSA, and PKYV. Now, these credit facilities were basically to ensure that the farmers who were small farmers or marginal farmers with small plot of land or small production, they could purchase necessary inputs like the HYV seeds, fertilizers, equipments, technologies, etc. Okay, naming one of these credit facilities, NMSA stands for National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture, right? The last suggestion would be, in this scheme of green revolution, supreme importance should be attached to the production of both food crops and cash crops. Now, since these high yielding variety seeds and new technologies is leading to the increase of production, also leading to surplus production. So the focus should not be completely on the commercial crops or the cash crops, but equal importance should be given to the food crops because they are mainly for domestic consumption. So a balance should be maintained between the growing of cash crops and the growing of food crops, right? So in this video we have learnt what exactly happened in the 1960s, how green revolution was introduced, by whom was it introduced, what were the negative and the positive impacts, how India changed from a grain deficient nation to a self-sufficient nation. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock test. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it is rewarding too. So register for free now.